Yes. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب زدنا علما آمين يا رب العالمين. So today we are going to revise Jumla Ismiya, and inshallah when Ustad starts surf again, we will again start where we left off with the recognition and the surf exercises that we were doing. So Alhamdulillah, we've basically revised the whole surf till now. Only practice was left. So inshallah we'll do it after we catch up to Ustad in Jumla Ismiya and Jumla Failya and all that we have been doing. So first we did the single ism with its properties, and then we did the fragments where we then had two isms interacting together or a harf or an ism interacting together. And now after doing all of that, we are ready to go on to the next level, which is the sentences. So the next step to the study is sentences, and this is a
And this
document
is a doc.
I'm making for notes. Inshallah, I'll share it when it's done. So I'm going to do a little revision from here because I've written all of the points over here. So inshallah, that way we don't miss any of the points that Ustad has done with us, inshallah. So types of sentences, as we know that there are two types of sentences. One is the Jumla Ismiya and the other is the Jumla Fi'liya. So the Jumla Ismiya usually starts with an ism, and it is the basis and the focus of the Jumla. That's why it is called Ismiya. And similarly, if the sentence starts with a fail, then we term that sentence to be Jumla Fi'liya, and uh, it revolves around the fail, the file, the mafool, the mutalik bil fail, all of the things that we have done. So inshallah today our focus will be Jumla Ismiya and how it is made, how we use the words, how isms are used, and in what order uh, Jumla Ismiya comes or not. We're going to discuss about Jumla Ismiya for now. So Jumla Ismiya, according to Ustad, has three components. Number one is the Mubtada, number two is the Khabar, and number three is the Muta'alliq bil Khabar. So as we know that we're talking about Jumla Ismiya, so a simple Jumla Ismiya will only contain isms. Mubtada will be an ism, Khabar will be an ism, and Muta'alliq bil Khabar will be a fragment. We'll do MBK when we get to it. So for Mubtada, the first condition is that it is an ism, right? That's why we call it Jumla Ismiya, and that is why it is one of the mandatory words that are in Jumla Ismiya. That's why it's called Jumla Ismiya. So Mubtada has to be there. If there is no Mubtada, then you will not have Jumla Ismiya. Number two, 99% of the time, Mubtada will be proper, right? And how do we know that? I'll write on here. Okay. So over here, we have, for example, al-waladu salihun, right? So Mubtada, the ism that starts, Mubtada is from ibtida, which means to start, right? So al-waladu is the starting of the sentence. It is an ism because it has an al on it, which is one of the signs of an ism. And if we analyze the ism, the four properties, they will be rafa, because mubtada is usually rafa, one, m, and p. Mubtada is usually proper. There is only a few instances, a couple or only one, that where the mubtada is going to be common. But over there, when we inshallah reach that point, we study those exceptions, we will know why it is coming as common. But usually, 99% of the time, mubtada is rafa, sorry, proper, and it can be rafa like here. Waladu is rafa, but it can also be nasab if you have a harf of nasab. Innal walada salihun. So here inna and its ism al walada both are the mubtada. Any questions till now?
No.
No, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So these points were the basis of the sentence Jumla Ismiya, and one of the main components without which Jumla Ismiya will not be will not be valid, is is that the mubtada is almost always proper, and usually it is rafa except when the HON is there, so then it will be nasab. So we've got 3 points done. So we have uh, it's an ism. 99% of the time it is proper. It is usually rafa except when it's HON and it's ism. Now over here you see al waladu is a single ism. It's not a fragment, right? So here mubtada is a single ism. Also khabar is a single ism. But we know that in the place of this single ism, a fragment can come. Now, how is that possible? Let me share with you my whiteboard so that we can see how it goes. Okay. So, our simple example of a Jumla Ismiya will be Al Waladu. It's a single ism. It is Rafa and it is proper. It is Mubtada. And as Ustad said, it is the topic, right? Topic or subject, whatever it makes it easier for you to understand. It is what is being talked about in the sentence, what the sentence is about. So that ism about which the whole sentence is afterwards, it's called the mubtada. Khabar, from khabar we know that it is also single ism here. It is common usually, but it can be proper, right? It is usually common, but it can be proper. And again, it is rafa. So these qualities are the basic qualities that mubtada and khabar will have. We know that HOJ fragment is MBK, muta'alliq bil khabar. So these are the three components in this order. The normal order of Jumla Ismiya is Mubtada, then Khabar, then Muta'alliq bil Khabar. This is the normal sequence. This order is changed for many reasons. which we will discuss later on. Right? So for now, this is the simplest sentence. Al waladu salihun. The righteous, the boy is righteous. Fil masjidi won't be making sense here. So I'm just gonna delete this. I'll give you another example with the MBK. So here it is, the boy is righteous. Okay, everything understood till now?
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Any questions or anything that you have in your mind that is not clear for
Uh,
these
You,
points?
you will be explaining that it can be fragment, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Then it's okay. Yes, then it's okay.
We start off with the simple word, and then we build up to the fragments, right?
Okay.
Now we know that mubtada is the only component that is necessary. Khabar and MBK can either be, one can be there, the other is missing, or this is there and this is missing, right?
And
So
Mubtada Khabar can be plural also, right?
yes, like today Stas said, but that is something that we will do afterwards. We are going to follow Stas's sequence. And I
Uh-huh.
feel that when you follow that sequence, it is from simple to complex. So then it gives you an idea on how to build on the simple. Just as we did, we first did the four properties of an ism, then we did the fragment, then we did, now we're doing the sentences, right? So inshallah, we'll try to follow that pattern over here as well.
Like here, Al Aladu Salihun can also be like instead of Al Waladu Salihin, Al Aladu Salihuna, or like Mubtada and
Yes,
Khabar.
yes, of course,
Okay.
of course, it can be.
Okay.
Inshallah, we will do that too, right? Okay. So another sentence is Al bintu jalisatun alal kursiyi, right? Okay. Can anybody tell me what is the mubtada here?
Al bintu.
Bintu.
Why?
Because it's Rafa,
And it's proper.
it's proper.
Okay. And
It's the first Rafa you see.
First Rafa you
yes,
see. Yes, yes. First
yes, and it is
topic.
Topic.
topic. Right? This is a very important point which will help you in deciding whether the next ism after it, which is in Rafa status, may be another mubtada or a khabar, right? So first we know al bintu, and that only tells us about the topic. So it is,
Hmm.
oh, sorry. So it is mubtada. Okay. Jalisatun.
So
What
Khabar,
is jalisatun?
So this is second Rafa.
Okay, it is Rafa. What then? What it is?
Khabar,
Okay, why is it khabar?
because it's action showing here like she's sitting,
Khabar, you're saying this is khabar. Okay. Yes, because it is telling us about
the
al
Bintu.
Al
bintu,
bintu.
right? So it is info
This is info.
and it is common.
It's common. Yeah.
That is another
Mhm.
reason for it to be a khabar. And remember, we said common followed by proper, proper followed by common, sorry.
Ji.
There's an
That
is.
was one of the reasons for the invisible is for the break in chain we did,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So those 5 reasons of invisible is are also telling us about mubtada.
Oh.
How? I'll show you with examples. Okay. Oh, and what is alal kursi here?
MBK.
Why?
It's a harf of jar.
Yes. Fragment.
Right.
Right? The the girl is sitting on
Kursi.
the chair. Kursi. Okay. So now we'll see the 5 reasons of invisible is, because that is one of the biggest signs of us being able to identify mubtada in a sentence. So first was, okay, let's just, huwa rabbuna.
Mm.
What is the
Uh,
mubtada?
I have a question.
Yes.
جالسة is it فعل or an اسم?
Sorry, can you repeat your question again?
جالسة is it فعل or اسم? Because
Oh,
فعل.
jalisatun. Yes.
Tefel.
Jalisatun. What is this?
Oh, تنوين.
Yeah, this is a masdar.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It is
Yeah.
action without time.
Yeah.
It is used in the place of fail quite often in the Quran, inshallah. So because I was doing khabar, simple khabar, so I needed to keep it as ism, right? And this is one
Yeah.
of the examples that Ustad shared with us during the Jumla Ismiya practices that he has done. What I was doing was that I collected all of the ayahs and all of the examples that he did in one place, and this was one of them.
Okay. Exactly.
Okay. So in this sentence, huwa rabbuna, what is the mubtada?
Huwa
Hua.
Yes, huwa. Why?
is a
This is the
pointer.
first reason.
I mean, not pointer. It's a pronoun.
Sorry?
I was saying it's a pronoun. That's why.
Yes, it's an independent pronoun,
Can be Rafa Nasab and Jar.
right? Which is rafa and both proper. So it qualifies for being a mubtada.
Mm.
And it is a very strong mubtada, right? It disconnects what is before it and what is after it. How? For example, Wallahu huwal ghafurur rahimu. Now here we know Allah is mubtada, right? And if we didn't have this huwa here, then it would have been mausuf sifa, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But this
So
huwa
disconnecting.
is so
Mm.
strong that it disconnected these two parts and became the second mubtada. This is first mubtada, and because huwa is still referring to Allah, who is the topic, without giving any information, that's why huwa becomes another mubtada. Okay?
Okay. So Al-Ghafur Ar-Rahim is Mubtada also.
No, Al Ghafurur Rahim is telling you
خبر.
something about the topic.
Oh, okay. Hua, you are saying it became Mubtada. Okay, I got it. I got you.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes,
Yes, yes.
yes. Because as far as Allah is concerned, that was enough for us, right?
Right. Right.
We got the topic. But
Yes.
then after that, huwa is used, and huwa is telling us what? Nothing.
Yeah.
As far as information is concerned, it's still
Right.
pointing towards Allah, towards Mubtada. It is still telling us the topic of the sentence, but it isn't telling us any information about the topic.
Hmm.
So then we move on to the next word, next ism. And always remember in Jumla Ismiya, you've got many words together, right? In a sentence, of
Hmm.
course, you can have three, four, five words together.
Hmm.
So the tip or the technique of solving this problem is that you go word by word. Like first, uh, I'll just clear this for now so that we can have a clearer canvas to work on. Right? So you had Wallahu huwal ghafurur rahimu. So, okay, let's just do away with wow. We know that it is at up. So first was Allah. It We analyze that word, right? If it's an ism, analyze it. Four properties first. If it's fail, analyze it. What type of fail, which family, past, present, forbidding, uh, inside doer, all of that detail. So here we have an ism which is rafa, which is singular, masculine, proper. So we see rafa and proper here, and we see this is the first ism in the rafa status, and it is telling us the topic, right? So
Hmm.
this has to be mubtada. Now we see if there is any connection between Allahu and Huwa. Can there be any chain between Allahu and Huwa?
No.
No.
Because Huwa cannot be either Mausuf or Sifa. It cannot be Mudaf, right? Or Mudaf ilayh, because it is independent Rafa pronoun, so it can't be Jar, right? It cannot be Isme Shara
Yeah.
or Musharun ilayh, right?
Hmm.
It cannot be HOJ fragment, right?
Right.
Because it is Rafa, so it cannot be Isme Majroor of any harf of jar, and we know there is no harf of jar here as well. Then it cannot be HON fragment,
Hmm.
right? Because there is
Right.
no HON, and this cannot be nasab in status, which is this ism that comes after the harf of nasab. So no chain is able to be made between Allahu and Huwa. So what happens is that this is one mubtada. Then we see Huwa, and we know that independent pronouns are always mubtada. Remember the invisible is the five reasons. The first reason was independent pronouns. Is that clear?
So this is giving is here. Independent
Yeah,
pronoun. Okay.
yes. So this is Mubtada 1, this is Mubtada 2, because this is still the topic going on. No new information about the topic, just the topic itself.
Hmm.
Then again, we see any relationship between these two is possible or not,
No.
right? We had one break here. There is no sort of fragment possible with hua. So what will we do? This is another bucket coming to an end.
Okay.
So then we analyze al-ghafuru. Al-ghafuru is rafa, one, masculine and proper. So these two properties of Allah and al-ghafuru are the same, but because of huwa, that connection is severed.
Broken. Okay.
Right. That is broken. So now we know that it is rafa, it is proper, it qualifies to be a khabar. Al Ghafuru, always all forgiving. This is giving you information about Allah. So that's why this is khabar. Okay, it is not part of any chain before it. And after it, we see we have Ar Rahim. So now we analyze this R1MP. So tell me, this is R1MP, this is R1MP. They are both isms. They have four properties matching. Can they be Mausuf Sifa?
No.
Why?
They're not adjectives and nouns. They're both adjectives.
Yes, they are both describing nouns. They are not simple basic nouns. And that's why there is no connection between Al-Ghafuru and Ar-Rahimu.
Hmm.
So because there is no connection between Al-Ghafuru, Ar-Rahimu, and both are giving information about Allah, the topic, this is also topic, right? So this
Hmm.
becomes khabar 1 and this becomes khabar
Two.
2. This sentence is clear?
Hmm.
Any questions or anything that you didn't get?
So
So
in this
No.
sentence, if there is no second mubtada, then how will be the meaning?
Allah,
Okay.
He is always all forgiving, always all merciful.
And with the second mubtada, like what is the difference, like meaning going?
Meaning wise, it is actually here they have put it as an emphasis, right? Like if
Okay.
we say the girl is a good girl, right? That is
Mhm.
normal. But if I say the girl, she is a good girl, so now I am emphasizing on that. That's
Mhm.
why I repeated the topic. It's not
Okay.
necessary. Allah would
Mhm.
have been sufficient.
Mhm.
But just to make a point, just to grab attention, just to form emphasis, to give it importance, more importance, a supporting in a way mubtada is there with Allah.
Jazakallah.
Why?
So, who independent pronoun is giving is invisible is there.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? This was the first point in our invisible is list. If you go back to the Nahu workbook,
Yeah.
the first workbook, the 5 reasons of invisible is are written over there.
Yeah. Somehow I'm unable to remember that.
Oh, no problem at all. We're going through it,
This will help
inshallah.
today. Yes, this will help, inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Okay. Now, the second point of invisible is was after inna and its ism, right? Inna meaning HON. So, inna allaha ghafurun rahimun. Now, again, always remember, take one word at a time and see what it is. Then try to form a chain with the next word to see whether the chain is going on or the bucket has ended. Right? So here, inna, what is inna?
Harf of nasab.
Harf of nasab.
Right. So it cannot be mubtada, it cannot be khabar, and it cannot be an MBK. So we leave it at HON, right? This is a
Mhm.
harf.
Hmm.
Then we see what comes after it. What
Nasab.
comes after it is an ism in
Nasab.
nasab status.
Hmm.
So what it is its ism,
Yes.
Yeah.
ismuha,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
we know that one of the ways to put the invisible is in an Arabic sentence is the HON and its ism. So in this sentence, what will be the mubtada?
إن الله
In Allah.
Inna Allah. Inna Allah.
Inna allaha. Right. So you have the invisible is over here. So the mubtada bucket has ended. Right? Why? Because there is no relation between Allah and Ghafurun. They cannot be Mausuf Sifa because Ghafurun is common and Allah is proper. They cannot be Idafa because Allah cannot be Mudaf
Hmm.
and Ghafurun
It's not in the
is
jar
not in
status.
the jar status. Exactly. They cannot be Isme Ishara Musharun Ilayh. Why? Because you don't have any Isme Ishara over
Inshallah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or an Ism Al with Al after it.
Hmm.
Then HON fragment, you don't have HON fragment. There is no HON between Allah and Ghafurun. Then HOJ fragment, no HOJ fragment
No.
because there is no harf of jar here. So you see all of the 5 fragments that could cause the chain to continue
Hmm.
are absent, right?
Right.
So that's why there is a break in the chain and this is your mubtada.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, we know that the next ism can be another mubtada or it can be a
Khabar.
khabar. So in Allah, the topic is about Allah, that indeed Allah. I'll just delete this so that we have space. Okay. So now that we know that there's a break in chain, we again start with Ghafurun. Ghafurun is Rafa 1 M C, right?
Yeah.
So the another reason for the break in chain would have been common followed by Yes, common following a proper
Proper
ism.
follow.
Yes, common following a proper,
Hmm.
right? So Ghafurun is common, it is Rafa, and Ghafurun is giving information about
Allah.
Allah. So what will this be?
Khabar.
So it is
It is Khabar. Exactly.
Khabar one. Yeah.
Now we are not going to say Khabar one yet because
Hmm.
we haven't
We don't know.
established
Yeah.
that fact whether it's a chain or not.
Right.
If it's a chain, then it will be only one Khabar. If it's not a chain and the next ism is still Rafa and the next ism is still giving you information, then it will be another Khabar.
Right. Right.
Right? Okay. So now we take, okay, now we take this ism. We've done this. This is Khabar for us. We have solved it. Now, is there any chain between Ghafurun and Rahimun? Can
No.
it be a Mausuf Sifa?
Yeah.
They are adjectives, so they cannot be mawsuf sifa.
Exactly.
That is when you know the meaning, but right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that is when you know the meaning.
Yeah. Grammatically
Um,
Yeah.
solving it. Yeah.
yes, but inshallah, we will know whether it's a describing noun or not once we do more types of isms. And inshallah, they have certain scales that when isms come on those scales, they can be sifas, right?
Hmm.
So inshallah. So for now, because Ustad is saying that we are doing it from an Arabic perspective and
Yeah.
he gives the meaning. So we know that both are the,
The first
yes, we call
Sifa.
it in Urdu sifati names,
Hmm.
right? Of
Two of
Allah,
them, right? Okay.
right? They are describing Allah. These names are describing Allah. So as there is no relationship, no chain between, so then another bucket has ended, right?
But grammatically, like all the four properties will be for Rahimun also, right?
Yes, but always remember one thing that I have repeated quite a few times, and this point had me confused for a long time was
Yeah.
that with Mausuf Sifa,
Mm-hmm.
there are three conditions. Number one, both should be isms, that is
Yeah.
obvious. Number two, all four properties have to match.
Match. Yeah.
But what happens is that we forget the third condition.
Mm.
One ism needs to be describing
Oh, yeah.
the other,
This is important. Yeah. Okay.
right?
Hmm.
Okay, can you just give me a second, please?
Sure. Sure.
Okay. So this last
Hmm.
point has to be there too.
Hmm.
And the more we study Arabic, inshallah, the more you're going to understand the meanings by themselves
Hmm.
are based on the scale of the ism. So Ghafurun and
Hmm.
Rahimun. You
Yeah.
see Rahimun, Karimun,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Ghafurun, then
Yeah.
Kabirun. All of
Yeah.
these are isms which are
Describing Allah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
describing Allah. And those are
Yes.
the 99 names of
Hmm.
Allah that
Hmm.
describe Him.
Hmm.
So Asma wa Sifat, they are
Right.
called Sifat, right? So
Hmm.
those meanings will always be sifas.
So when you say one ism needs to be describing the other, here, if it was like Rahimun should have been describing Gafurun, but here it is not the case. It is describing Allah, so it cannot be Mausuf Sifa here,
Yes,
right?
because both are sifas, both are
Right.
adjectives.
I'm talking grammatically. I know Gafurun
Yes,
and
yes,
Rahimun are the Sifa of Allah, but grammatically speaking, this is what it means, right?
yes.
Understood. Jazakallah khair.
Oh, yeah. So then, you have another bucket, and that's why we have khabar 1 and khabar
Two.
2.
This
So
is
this
two.
is how you solve. You go word by word and you analyze it, and then you try to form a chain. If it's not a chain, then that bucket is ended. Another bucket is starting, right? Okay.
Correct.
Then the third is reason is isme ishara
Hmm. Oh, sure.
without an al,
Okay.
right? Because we
Hmm.
are talking about sentences and we
Hmm.
know that if an isme ishara is followed
Hmm.
by another ism with al, it will be
No is, yeah, fragmented.
musharun ilay and it
Mushar.
will be a fragment, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So then isme ishara
Hmm.
okay. Now we have zalika.
Hmm.
Zalika is an isme ishara.
Hmm.
With isme ishara, we see the next ism.
Without
And
that.
do you have al or not?
No.
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 No. So you
That
know,
is.
because there is no other connection possible between these two isms. So
Hmm.
that's why we have a
Is.
is here,
Yeah.
which is the break.
Hmm.
And so this is one bucket. And dhalika, that is showing you what? It is a topic.
Hmm.
It is rafa because there is
Hmm.
nothing before it to
Fixed.
make it
Yeah.
jar or nasab.
Hmm.
One masculine and it is proper. So you
Proper.
see rafa and proper, the two conditions for mubtada
Hmm.
are there. So that's why it is the topic and we call it
Mubtada.
mubtada. Now we have already established the fact that there is no relationship out of the five fragments possible between Zalika and Waladun. So
Hmm.
now we analyze Waladun. Waladun is Rafa,
Hmm.
one,
Masculine.
masculine, and common. Okay. Is there another
Yeah.
ism after it? Is
Yeah.
it the
It's a
break
Sifa.
in
Yeah. Yeah.
chain or is it a continuation of the chain?
This is describing
Breaking.
walad, right?
Yes, Salihun is describing.
Waladun.
Yes, this is also
So it'll be
R
Mausuf Sifa. Yeah.
one MC,
MC. So
and
it'll be
this is
Mausuf Sifa.
Sifa
Hmm.
because it is describing Mausuf.
Waladun. Hmm.
Yes, so that's why our khabar
One bucket. Yeah.
is one bucket.
Right.
That's it,
The cover. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
right? Okay. Then the next one is, sorry, number 4, break in chain. And this is what we have been doing, right? So
Hmm.
if we have
Proper. What did I say? Sorry.
okay. Now
Hmm.
over here, again, we start with the first ism and we analyze it. We have Rafa,
Hmm.
1,
One.
M,
Masculine. Proper.
P.
Hmm.
So, Al-Waladu, what is it telling you about?
The boy.
Yes,
The
the
subject. Topic.
The
subject of
subject.
the,
Topic. Yeah.
right,
Topic. It's
subject,
Rafa and proper. Yeah.
right. Okay. Now, we can easily say, okay, this is Mubtada.
Right.
But now what we have to see, we have to see if there is any relation
Hmm.
between the next ism and
Hmm.
this ism. So
Right.
we analyze this ism. It is R1MP
P.
as well.
موصول صفة.
Massive sifa. One
Yes,
bucket, yeah.
this is because describing this, so it is Mawsuf Sifa fragment. So as it is Mawsuf Sifa fragment, the bucket is continuing, right? So the Mubtada is still continuing,
Okay, so this is Mubtada. Okay.
right? Because the chain is continuing, so the bucket is continuing. Now we have to see whether as-salihu and talibu are
Connect.
connected,
Connected. Yeah.
right? Over here you have light and no al,
No, al. Yeah.
and we know that this is
Okay.
an ism which is a sifa as well.
Hmm.
So talibu is not connected to what is before because this is not a mubtada. It is not light and no al,
Right, right, right.
right? This
Break and
isn't
change.
an HOJ fragment. This is an HON fragment. It cannot be a Mawsuf sifa because
There is
this
no
is
al. Yeah.
mudaf,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And this is a salihu.
Yeah.
So one is light because of this, and al because al when al comes, then the whole argument for light and heavy stops. It becomes irrelevant. So then the break in chain is over here because Mawsuf Sifa is ending here and we are moving on to Mudaf. Everybody understood this?
Yes.
Okay. So our Mubtada bucket was the whole fragment, Mawsuf Sifa fragment. Then now we want to know the relation between these two. Talibu, right? Light and Noal,
No.
which is
Mother.
simple. Yes, it is mudaf. And we still do not know, are 100% sure if it's mudaf or not because we have to analyze the ism coming after it. Now we know that when a light and no al ism is followed by an ism in the jar status,
Just.
that ism is mudaf ilay. Is al madrasati, we will analyze it is jar 1
What?
f p.
Yeah.
So it is
Just.
jar following a light and no al ism. So this will be the mudaf ilay. So there is a relationship between talibul madrasati, which then
Yes, one.
becomes the
Talib will cover.
Khabar.
khabar because it is telling you information about a good boy. So this is how we will be able to understand where the mubtada ends and from where the khabar starts.
So where the break in chain is, there is invisible is.
Yes, but one thing to be sure is whether the next chain is mubtada or khabar. Because if it had not been giving us information but pointing towards the topic, this could have been mubtada too.
Sorry, come again.
As Mr. Fauzi was saying that here we would have put is, right?
Right.
Because of the break in chain.
Yeah.
But we have to make sure that what comes after the break in chain is information or topic is
Ah,
still
yeah.
going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Because Talibul Madrasati is giving information about al-waladi, that's why we are deeming it as khabar.
Khabar.
The break in chain will only tell you that one bucket has ended.
Yeah.
Okay.
But whether you put is there or not,
Hmm.
that depends on what comes afterwards.
Hmm.
Okay, so understood until this point?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the last of the invisible is point was
Common.
sorry, proper, yes, common, following,
Proper.
proper. So, Allahu Ghafurun Rahimun. Now, the first part is Allah. The first is Allah.
Hmm.
It is Rafa,
Hmm.
1
Yes.
MP. So, you have P and
Subject.
R, which makes it a
Mubtada.
topic or mubtada. Okay. Now, is there any relationship between Allahu and Ghafurun?
Yes. Allahun
No,
and Ghafurun. No. Sorry.
Why?
because one's common and one's proper.
Exactly. You've got a common ism following a proper ism.
Hmm.
So that's why no chain is possible and we take the first break.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you've got the mubtada. This is the first bucket that has come to an end. And because it is giving you a topic, it is not giving you an information about topic. So that's why it is mubtada. Then we see whether khafurun can be another mubtada or a khabar. So we analyze it, we do it, it's rafa, it is 1, it is M, and it is
Common.
C. So rafa and C give away the fact plus it being information about Allah, right? What is
Yes.
Allah? Allah is always
Ghafur.
forgiving. Oh,
Always.
yes, always all forgiving. So that's why this makes it khabar. Now we see whether there is any chain between Ghafurun and Rahimun. Is there any relationship between Ghafurun and Rahimun?
It cannot be Mawsuf Sifa as, yeah, third point.
Exactly. And it cannot be any other fragment as well
Yeah,
because all the conditions do not meet. So that means another bucket has come to an end.
right.
And now we have to see Rahimun, is it giving a topic or a
Information.
information? So what is it giving you?
Information.
Information. It is unchanged to what came before it. So this becomes khabar 1 and this becomes khabar
Two.
2. So you got it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now things make
Alhamdulillah.
sense. Yeah.
So that's how you do it. First you analyze each word,
Hmm.
then you try to form a relation with the next word. If not, then the bucket ends. If the chain keeps going, then the bucket keeps going.
Hmm.
Okay. So these were the 5 points that we did with the invisible is, which will help us to understand till when is the mubtada and from where the khabar starts. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So as we said that Jumla Ismiya, the Mubtada is mandatory. We need the Mubtada. And Khabar and MBK are optional. Any one can be present and the other absent, and it still will be a complete Jumla Ismiya. So for example, in the example we did, okay, Allahu qahirun fawqa ibadihi. So this is Mubtada,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Then
Khabar.
this is common, so there is a break.
Yeah.
Qahirun is telling you information about Allah, so this is Khabar.
Yeah. Okay.
Fawqa is what?
Special mudaf.
Idaf,
Right.
Special
special mudaf.
of time and place.
Of time and
Ibadihi.
place.
Ibadihi is mudaf.
So this becomes mudaf. Ibadihi.
Yeah.
Ibadi becomes mudaf ilayh. Ibadi becomes
Ibadi.
mudaf. And
Ibadi and he again mudaf ilayh. Yeah. It's
yeah.
mudaf plus mudaf ilayh. Yeah.
Yes. And
Oh,
then
okay.
he
He
is
is mudaf ilayh. Yeah.
exactly. So your chain is continuing.
Hmm.
So as we saw that the chain in Allah, sorry, in the Mubtada continued, we also saw the chain in Khabar continuing, and now here in the MBK, right? Because this
Yes.
is giving more information about the Khabar, so that's why it is
Khabar.
MBK. And we know that MBK can be an HOJ fragment or a special mudaf mudaf ilayh fragment. Okay,
Mm.
so this is the natural order. First the mubtada comes, this is the khabar, and this is the muta'alliq bil khabar. But it is equally possible, and it occurs in the Quran, that sometimes khabar, you have certain combinations of jumla ismiya. So the first one was mubtada, khabar, and MBK. This is the normal one. But other combinations are also possible. You can have mubtada and khabar and no MBK, right? You can
Mm.
have a jumla ismiya with mubtada, no khabar, and MBK.
Mm.
But always remember that even if khabar is not there,
Mm.
it is present in meaning.
Oh.
Okay?
Can you elaborate on that
Sure.
with an example, probably? Yeah.
Sure. We'll do the example. So we did the example for the first one, right? Then
Mm.
we'll do the example of Ghafurun, right? You have the mubtada, you have the break-in chain, and you have the
Khabar.
khabar. So here you do not have an MBK. So such sentences are also possible. But it is equally possible that you have Alhamdu lillahi. Now, when we analyze this, we have alhamdu, which is rafa 1 MP. It is rafa, it is proper. Alhamdu is also the
Topic.
topic. So, what it will be? The
Mubtada.
mubtada. Now, we go to here. What is lillahi?
jar
Jar
majrur.
majroor.
Right. So, this is jar, HOJ fragment. And what do we do with an HOJ fragment in Jumla Ismiya?
Mubtada bil khabar.
Yes, we make it mubtada bil khabar. Now over here, this is the mubtada and this is the MBK. But there is no khabar over here, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So scholars and grammarians on the basis of tafsir and how the Sahaba and the scholars described the commentary of these ayahs, they say that although you only have alhamdulillahi, but the khabar which is missing is actually implied.
Yeah.
The khabar is there in meaning, just not words.
Mhm.
So in this sentence, what would it be?
Alhamduhu kulluhu lillahi.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. That was
Alhamdulillah.
that's what he was talking about. Balaga here. That's what it means here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
And that is how you have a very, very wide range of meanings coming out and an in depth understanding of what Allah is saying between the lines, right? Like we say in
Hmm.
English, between the lines. You don't have to spell every word out, you just need to understand the context and how the words are being used to understand the emotion between under the meaning and what is being said,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, I find it very beautiful that la ilaha, right,
Mm.
illallah. So in the explanation of this is la, sorry, la matluba illallah, la maqsuda illallah, la mahbuba illallah. There are so many interpretations of one sentence in a way.
Mm.
So inshallah, this will be more clear, more understandable when we reach to the balagha level. And there are many examples that Ustad gave. Inshallah, we'll go through those examples as well. So even though the khabar, when it is not mentioned in words, we know that it is implied, it is hidden, and then the scholars, from their vast knowledge of tafsir and how the Sahaba, the Tabi'een, the Taba Tabi'een took those meanings, took the meanings from the Prophet himself, they explain what those hidden meanings can be.
Mm.
Can I ask, in Alhamdulillah, is Alhamdu a master of Hamd?
Yes,
Okay, I just wanted to know.
yes, because it is Hamida. Let me just confirm. Hamida Yahmadu.
Wouldn't be Hamdan then.
Yes, the masdar will be hamdan. I just want to make sure the past and present um, conjugation is yes. Hamida yahmadu.
So this is from Samia, yes, no, right?
Yes,
Okay.
hamdan. Right? And we know that we write the masdar in the surface saghir in nasab form, but actually it is by default hamdun, or in the proper form it is
Alhamdulillah.
alhamdu.
Okay, okay, okay. So every masdar is written in the nasab form, but the actual formation of the word is in the rafa, right?
Like
That's what
the,
I'm trying.
yeah, like we said, rafa is the default
Yes, yes, yes. Got it, got it. Yeah.
status of an ism, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nasab, we only do nasab so that the surface saghir sounds a little bit more in flow, right? And Ustad said that a surface saghir is making a whole sentence. So for that, the nasab form of masdar was used. But actually, the default or the simple form of masdar is the rafa form. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Then another thing is that we can have multiple mubtadas, khabars, and mbks. Okay?
Yes.
We will do them by examples that Ustad gave us. We did the example where we had two mubtadas, and this was a little tricky. Um, just a second, let me see where I wrote that example. Yes, this one. Inna Allah indahu ilmu saati. Right? So now we'll start analyzing it from the first word as we have been doing. We see inna. What is an inna?
حرف نسب.
Harf of nasab. Now we know the harf of nasab fragment exists, but for that to happen, there should be an ism in the nasab status after it. So is there an ism in the nasab status after it?
Yeah,
لفظ
Allah
الجلالة.
ismuha. Yeah.
Yes. So this is nasab and this is proper. So then inna Allah becomes a chain, right?
Yes.
Now, in order to know whether the chain is continuing or not, we have Allah and Aindahu. So Ainda we know is a
باش مضاف
Special
إليه.
mudaf, yeah. Mudaf, mudaf. Yeah, so it will
mudaf,
be, yeah, who will
right?
be mudaf? Yeah.
Right. And Allah and Inda have no relationship
Hmm.
together.
So it's separate. Yeah.
Yes. So there is a break in chain here. So one bucket is has finished, and that was the mubtada, because inna will always be part of the mubtada.
Mubtada.
In the who is special mudaf, who is an attached pronoun.
Mudaf alay.
So it will be right, mudaf ilay. So this whole chain is one thing.
One bucket.
Then we say who and ilm. Can any relationship be there between who and ilm?
Mudaf and
No.
mudaf. It is light and, yeah. Ah,
Who is never a mudaf, who is never light and
no.
null.
No, ilmu I'm
There is
talking
no
about.
one possible on it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So in pronouns cannot be mudafs. They can only be
Hmm.
mudaf ilayh.
Yeah.
So and then no, it can't be mawsuf or sifa, right? Pronouns cannot be mawsuf or sifa.
Hmm.
Then isme ishara, musharun ilayh is not possible. HON fragment is not possible. HOJ fragment is not possible. So there is another break in chain.
Chain. Yeah.
So now what it is? What is it? Is it a khabar, another mubtada, or MBK?
MBK in the
MBK. Yeah.
Why?
because there's a special mudaf for time and place, and it's
Exactly.
additional information.
Exactly. It is a special mudaf of time and space. That's why it is an MBK. Ilmu.
Hmm. It's a no
Can you
al,
analyze ilmu?
no al, and it is light, so it will be a mudaf. And next word following it is in the jar status, so it will be the mudaf ilay. So it is in one bucket, mudaf ilay.
Okay.
Will be a
Now, ilmu saati, the knowledge of the hour.
Hmm.
Is it a topic or is it information?
Information
The topic is Allah
hmm.
and information is the knowledge of, oh,
Of
sorry, not
Allah.
the information. The meaning of this is
Hmm.
knowledge of the hour.
Right.
So, is this information about Allah? Is Allah the knowledge of the hour?
No.
This is not the information about Allah,
No, no, no. It's not the information about Allah.
right? It needs to be a, for a ism or a fragment to be a khabar. It
Hmm.
needs to give information
About
about
the
the
subject.
topic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Here, this is not giving an information about the
Subject.
subject
Mubtada.
here.
Hmm.
So, this is another topic.
Mm. Okay.
That's why we have to make certain whether the new bucket that is starting, if it's not an MBK, then it is it another mubtada or another khabar. So that's why, because it is not giving any, because how can knowledge of the hour be information about Allah?
Mm.
So that's why this is mubtada 2.
So, so here also there will be no khabar, so it's implied again, right?
Yes,
Okay,
But
okay, okay.
isn't it Rafa status for
it is.
Mubtada?
It's not common, and the default would be
What
common.
is this? What is this fragment?
It's mudaf and mudaf.
Mudaf
What
and Mudaf.
decides the status of the idafa?
The
The mudaf, the mudaf would
What is the status of this mudaf?
refer.
Raf.
Rafa.
So it is, so the whole idafa will be taken as rafa
Oh,
because the mudaf
that's
ilayh
true.
is always jar. So you cannot
Yes.
decide the status of the idafa from the mudaf ilayh.
Mm. Yes, yes, true.
Okay, so
Yeah.
inshallah for idafa fragment, the only thing the mudaf ilayh decides is the type, right?
Okay.
Can we do more sentences like where there are two mubtada in the same? This was really like it was like when you highlighted it, it became very clear now. Alhamdulillah. But if you can just give one more
The
sentence.
same, the
Some.
same happened to me because I had missed the session where Ustad had done this, and
Yeah.
somebody came to me with this and said that is this mubtada and khabar, and I'm like, no, this is khabar. And then he said that it's no, Star said it is mubtada. So
Yeah.
then I went back, and then when he explained it to in the video, that's when I understood.
Yeah. For
So
me,
the
it was like
khabar,
mudaf, mudaf alayh straight. Go, it's covered.
exactly. So that's why. So if we are so conditioned that mubtada and khabar, mubtada after mubtada, it will be khabar, that we negate, we miss the fact, and we miss to see whether the information is really about that topic or is it giving another topic. Okay. Any
Yes.
questions till now?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
How long is the class? Just for an idea.
Oh, it depends. Actually, it is over the time.
Yeah.
We usually do it two at two, but because we started it 15 minutes late, so we are 15
Okay.
minutes above. So
Okay.
inshallah, we'll then end it here. No problem at all. Our next session is Friday morning. I'll make the post in the announcement as well as in the group, inshallah. So we will do more practice with the Jumla Ismiya. What I would tell you to do is go back to day 22,
Day
because
22.
that
Let me.
is when the Jumla Ismiya started, and
Okay.
start going through with Ustad and write all the examples down. And if you have any questions, you can post in the group, right?
It's
So,
very,
and
this class, because I was just listening to Ustad, I'm up to date, but it's a very good revision that we did today. It makes so much sense.
Alhamdulillah, and that's just what we need to do. Most of the things we know, but then that is like for the first layer of cement in the foundation. But you
Yes,
need more layers to make the foundation more strong. That's all that we do,
yes.
right?
And
So, inshallah,
yes,
first we'll end the session and the recording, and then we can decide upon the next session and topic. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Wa alaikum assalam wa
ورحمة الله
rahmatullah.
وبركاته.
Jazakallah khair, sister.